Hello everyone, welcome back to OnLocation. Today I'm actually on location at my home office here. In the next 48 hours or so, as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be going to East Fork State Park. This is one of the largest state parks in all of Ohio, and I am actually going to be tackling one of the longest trails, continuous backpacking trails in the entire state of Ohio as well. I'm going to be doing the Steve Newman World Walker Backpacking Perimeter Trail. It's a mouthful of words, but it's dedicated after Stephen Newman, who basically walked on foot across most of the world and all the continents or something, and across the hemispheres and all that kind of stuff. So he's a big name. I've read his book before. It's really some interesting stories of his travels and everything. And it's gonna be really cool to do this trail for finally at last here. This is my first time doing it ever, pretty much. I've kind of done sections, I think, a little bit here and there, but never the entire thing in full, of course. And what better way to, I guess, celebrate this trail and by hiking it, of course, but also making a video like this, like I normally would for an on-location video. But instead, I'm going to really be focusing on doing the hike itself and taking some photos along the way of the peak fall foliage. As we're here in the month of November. So this is going to be, I think, a pretty good hike. It's definitely going to be a longer video, probably. So, settle in to watch the whole thing or watch it in parts, whatever you want to do. But I want to do something a little bit different here because I haven't done a proper backpack trip or adventure like this in quite a long time, really. And I haven't done one really for this On Location series, of course, thus far. So yeah, basically just got a little bit of time left. As you can see, here's all my gear. It's all this big mess right now. I just kind of been gathering things in preparation for the trip itself. I'm planning on doing it starting very early on a Saturday morning and hopefully finishing by the evening of Sunday. So basically just 2 days and one overnight for one weekend total. And in total, it's about 33 or so miles, which I think is very doable to do in 2 days. Obviously, if you divide that in half, that's probably about 16, 17 miles a day. The terrain is moderate to intermediate to difficult. I've heard and seen videos from others of some stream crossings. We'll see how those go. There was some rain about a week ago that was pretty heavy for most of one day. And then it's been relatively dry, I feel like, overall since then. So, yeah, terrain's going to be very nice. Otherwise, I think, hopefully at least. I've been checking the trail conditions online, and it seems like it's a little wet in spots, maybe muddy in spots, and it can be after rain. But I think overall, I think it's going to be okay. And as we hike around the perimeter trail of the entire lake and everything. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll talk more details, of course, as we get closer to the date, or rather when I'm on the way and also when I'm there, of course, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to quickly run through some of the gear I got right here, just so you kind of know what I'm dealing with here. So this is most of my clothing in the bag. I do have a nice, it was nice, Mountain Hardwear. This is rated for 15 degrees. So nice kind of four season sleeping bag. So I got to stuff that away. As you can see right here, I got some MREs. I decided to pack real easy for this. No complicated meals or real, cooking to mess around with. And these are just nice dry dehydrated meals. Obviously, you just boil the water and then pour it in the pouch and let it seal and rehydrate itself. See, I got a couple here, some breakfast ones as well, like this oatmeal. Got a couple of those, and then some nice kind of filling, hearty meals for lunch and dinner. Then I got some printed out, some traditional, I just printed these out from the park manager who recommended these maps. So got some of those. I already made some notes onto the actual trails themselves and places of interest and registration, where the offices are, where the nature center is, and there is 5 backpacking trail camps along this entire trail. So which are nice because they're free. You just need a permit and to register and apply ahead of time, which I did. And then this is some information about the trails that intersect with it, such as the Buckeye Trail, which I'll go back over here to show you. This poster I got, Follow the Blue Blazes. So it's gonna be pretty cool. Obviously, near Batavia, Ohio, over to the far east of Cincinnati. Number 42 on this map is East Fork, which you can see right there. So yeah, I'm gonna be doing a decent, not super long section of the BT, the Buckeye Trail that is, but it's gonna be a nice section nonetheless. So yeah, I got MREs, some meat sticks, some liquid IV. I got this water purification tablets to pour obviously into the water. I probably will at some point need to filter my water, so got those, and some other hydration stuff like this Celsius caffeinated energy packet, some liquid IV, some fig bars, arguably the best flavor, and then some caffeinated little gel, amino acid gels. So got those. Got a first aid kit, not super bulky or big, but it contains some alcohol pads, band-aids of various sizes. I think I have a little bit of gauze in here as well, so pretty much got that stuff at least. And then let's see, I guess I'm just going to peel off the layers on this mess right here. So got some fleece quarter sleeves, and I guess I'll mention before I really get into this whole mess is that I'm going to be packing this immediately after I'm done explaining and sharing this. And so some of this stuff may not go with me. Some I may include some more stuff. I'll probably have way too much here, given my pack size. And so I'm probably going to have to cut some of these, items out, of course. So I guess, well, I'm just setting them aside now just to see what I think I need. And then we'll go from there. Carbon fiber trekking poles. I feel like that's going to be essential for these hills that I am tackling. Some tent stakes, some various bags for the sleeping pad, tent. The tent itself, it's a nice like one person REI backpacking tent, so that's pretty nice. Got another fleece quarter sleeve. I'm probably just only going to bring one though, given the temperatures. It's looking to be about, I think, in the 60s on Saturday, and then a high of 60s, I'll say, and then a high of like 43 or something on Sunday. So pretty stark contrast, about 20 degrees or so. Saturday, the first day, is going to be much warmer, and then the second day it's going to be a little bit more frigid overall. So tent footprint, the rain fly for the tent. Like I said, it's just a very small tent. It's very much just to be a place, a shelter from the elements and from the weather, and it's a very small one, so you really just are meant to sleep in it, and that's all it's pretty much good for. But the whole entire tent packs down to about I don't even think it's maybe about a pound or something. I don't know. I'm not an ultralight hiker by any means, so I do like to get nice gear, but I don't really weigh it. Tent poles and all that fun stuff in that bag, keeping those separately, of course, away from the tent. And a nice Petzl headlamp with a rechargeable battery somewhere in the stack. This pack rain cover for the entire bag itself. Probably gonna bring this because they do allow fires that are permitted at the backpacking tent sites, and so in their designated fire rings. So I may bring this little, just some scrap paper and a toilet paper roll as kindling to get a fire started. So I think it's a nice way to get it started. Maybe put some twigs in there after I collect some wood that night. These are for when I sleep, so I can have like white or brown noise or green noise, some kind of, noise or whatever. I usually sleep with rain sounds, so that stuff's good too. But these are like an in-ear, closed ear earbuds, as you can tell, wireless. So I'm probably going to be bringing these because they're small, but it's kind of a big deal, especially when you're out there alone camping and sleeping in the middle of the night. I have heard stories of course, given it being Ohio, coyotes howling through the night, which I've experienced in years past camping, and that can wake you up pretty easily and kind of freak you out, honestly. So even though coyotes aren't really that scary or bad, but still, peace of mind is really important for me. So I am going to be crossing through a wildlife area, so I am bringing this. It's kind of a rail tree camouflage, but I'm going to be wearing it with the orange side up. I'm not sure, given that being near hunting season, we may encounter some hunters along the way, so just in case. And it's still a beanie at the end of the day, so high visibility so people can see me from a distance for safety or whatever, or hunting or otherwise. Random bag for the tent. I got the eye mask, so you know, it's got one side that's insulated, one side that's kind of like a more, I don't know, it's kind of felt design or whatever fabric. So that's for sleeping, obviously. As you can imagine, this is for digging cat holes when I need to poop. I may have to do that given that it's a backpack trail, so we'll see. There might be a few latrines or facilities along the way, or an outhouse. It just kind of depends on their condition or how run down they may be and all that stuff. I got some, oops, things are falling. Some bags in there. I got a few of these. I don't think I'm going to bring these because these are just like collapsible. They're empty right now, of course, but collapsible water bottles. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to bring those because I have these and they're already filled up. These nice Nalgene water bottles, and these are the right size at about 1 liter or 1,000 milliliters for the purification tablets. I got 2 of them, so just plain old water. And I got a jet boil with 1 titanium spork, and then this very oversized, but it's the only fuel I have right now, so I'm bringing it, but it's very, very full. So that's my fuel source. Make sure I have enough when I'm out there so I'm not deserted and I can't boil water or make meals hot, of course. This is just a little a little cloth, microfiber cloth. It's like a quick dry one. It has a nice carabiner, so I can just use that for cleaning up, washing my hands, all that kind of stuff. A small little roll of paracord for fire starting or tying knots or ropes around things and bags, that kind of stuff. Here's the headlamp rechargeable battery. It's already fully charged. I just keep it out so I can save the battery. I'm probably not bringing these because I have the earbuds and the headphones, but these are just regular, those like kind of foam earplugs. Got a few pairs in there or whatever, so I don't think I'm going to be bringing these, but you never know. Lip balm because it's going to be kind of cold. Multi-tool. This is a Gerber one that has I forget how many tools are on it, but serrated knife. There's even a little pair of scissors right here. And screwdrivers, flatheads, pliers, you name it. It's got a lot going for it. This is my pillow of choice. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's a nice, decent sized marmot one that's very small. As you can see, it's completely flat, inflatable, of course. It's quick to inflate as well. Got a couple, these kind of like polyester, long sleeves. Probably only gonna bring 1 for the whole trip, maybe 2. Different sizes and different like thicknesses, given conditions. This button-up shirt, it's kind of like a quick dry one, so good for backpacking and stuff, I think. This one's essential. This is my down jacket. Probably wearing this most of the weekend. It's got some nice zippered pockets, no hood, just the way I like it. I'm planning on bringing 3 pairs of kind of thick wool socks. These are just some generic brand ones, and then got some smart wool ones here. The reason I'm saying 3 is because, well, obviously, 1 pair probably for each day, but also if I have to cross water or any other things can happen or go wrong, just have an extra pair is always really, really important, because wearing wet socks all day while hiking really sucks, and so I don't want to be in that position. And I think there's a slight chance of rain overnight, so we'll see how that goes as well. Another kind of beanie, or just hat, so not a thick one, but it gets the job done. Probably gonna be wearing these most of the year, most of the trip. These are some gaiters, very high ones that go almost up to your knee, and there's obviously, you just roll them up on your pant leg and clip them over your shoes. So I got a pair of those, some heavy kind of like fleece mitten gloves with the flip mitten, so you can see they're kind of like a fingerless option besides the thumb. So got those. Yeah, neck buff, fleece one. Another much smaller hat. It's much more smaller and packable, as you can see. Got some long johns, probably for sleeping, but I may wear these kind of thin, long underwear pair. These are really nice. They're thin, but they really hold their heat. So I'll probably be wearing these, especially on Sunday. We'll just see how that goes. This is the compression sack for the sleeping bag. Probably only one pair of hiking pants. These have convertible to shorts, but probably going to be wearing the pants, obviously, given the time of year. So one pair with different pockets and stuff for tools or accessories. This is for inflating up the sleeping pad. It's just one of those kind of like bags where you roll it up and get the air in there. And then this is the sleeping pad itself. And I got a couple of charging banks for like my GPS watch, my phone, of course, that kind of stuff. And then the bag itself, which is an old Kelty Red Wing 44. It's 44 liters. It's a decent pack. I've used it in years past. And yeah, it's a hiking bag. It has sternum strap and the waist strap, of course, which is important. It's kind of this big cavernous thing in here, but I may do some packing cubes or something. I'm kind of going to figure that out right now. And there's some molly webbing, which is like these little straps on the back, or the bottom of it rather. And yeah, many compartments, side pockets for the Nalgene water bottles, and then some more stuff where you can stuff in trekking poles and whatnot. So you got a whole lot of options with it. And so yeah, so I'm going to go through all this now and see how much I can fit in this little bag. So hopefully it works out pretty well. So here we go. Day 1. I wake up and set out well before first light and make the drive out. There's a considerable amount of fog and low-hanging clouds in the darkness. The visibility on these long winding roads is practically non-existent. Upon dropping my water and rations off at the halfway point, it was placed on a dead-end road about a quarter of a mile from the campsite I'm staying at this night. Finally here, parking near the Tailwater trailhead. It's just right across from me here. This is a really nice prairie warbler habitat. Thank you, Henry. If you know, you know. So it's a very calm, peaceful, quiet morning. Not a lot of people out here for a Saturday morning. The fog, there's been very low visibility on the entire drive here. I started way in the dark and just got here. It's technically sunrise right now, but it's very cloudy out. You can kind of see on the horizon over here in the tree line that it is very foggy, some low clouds, I guess, hanging around. We did get a little bit of rain yesterday, so that might make the trails a little bit sopping wet. We'll see, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy. I've been planning this I've wanted to do this trail for probably a year and a half now, I think, is when I found out about it. And that was probably the first time that I went to East Fork here. But this is something I've been planning the past week or two to finally do it. And it's just crazy that I'm actually here right now and starting it right now. So it's pretty crazy. It's hit me all of a sudden right now. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. I did drop off at the recommendation of the park manager, who was a big help in kind of like giving suggestions and offering advice for this entire trail. She gave me some pointers and some advice about where to park, the best direction to go, which is counterclockwise. She recommended, which I was going to do anyways, which I know it's good to know, had the right idea at least. And just overall, some pointers, and she recommended that to drop off my water, and a couple of MREs and some snacks at one of the parking lots, basically right next to where I plan to be camping tonight. Made some alternatives as well. You'll probably see these. I didn't bring everything that I discussed in the first video, and there's a few things that I swapped out or chose to not bring, and there's a couple extra things I chose to bring. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So I'm really excited to get this started. I think it's gonna be a great trip and a great kind of backpacking weekend here. Hopefully full of adventure. You can hold me to my word now on the record saying I chose to do this. I'm looking forward to it, and leaving nothing behind. So let's go ahead and get started here. All right, so far so decent. There's definitely the horse part of the trail, the bridle trail, because it shares it with the perimeter trail. I think for most, if not all of it, sopping wet. And there's all these horseshoes. So I fully expected this. I mean, to be honest. So this is one of the more interesting parts of the trail I was looking forward to. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to be talking throughout this trail. I just want to save my breath and take some time, take photos. I did only bring, besides this GoPro right here, I only brought my phone camera, so that means that I'm only taking phone photos so that I can just be a little bit more on the go and have a much lighter weight setup. Obviously I normally don't do that, but given that I'm backpacking, this little visit, this trip just made the most sense. My bag's already pretty full, like I said earlier. It's a 44 liter, and so I had to really think about what I needed the most. And of course, spare clothes and a sleeping and shelter setup is in some ways more important than camera gear. But I'll share some details. I'm going to shoot some of the photos. I've already taken some actually of this beautiful fog in the tree line from where I'm leaving. And so behind me here, so far I'm about half a mile in, so I got a lot of ways to go here, but it's still early in the morning. I think it's about 8 in the morning. So now that I'm on the trail, the morning light begins to shone through the cold haze. My first mile marker is at 29, coincidentally the age at which I'm doing this hike. One of the most captivating things that led me along the trail early on was this golden crowned kinglet. Within arm's length, this tiny bird greeted me along the way as it guided me down the trail. Looking off to my side, the lower ridge of the woodland was glowing with morning light. A clearing in the trees gave way to what I would describe as an open plain field. The air is crisp and cool, with a slight warmth due to, in part, the sunrise now fully committed over the horizon. The surrounding tree line now enveloped and awash in its glow. On the ground, a single black-eyed Susan flower surviving on its own, topped with dewdrops. I cannot state this enough that the leaf colors are at peak variety. I get so enamored with the landscape's beauty that sometimes I lose track of the trail blazes as I walk around. Those blazes, in fact, are for the World Walker Trail, which is a dark forest green color, and the Buckeye Trail, or BT, is known for a sky blue color. There's also some overlap at times with the American Discovery Trail, ADT, with scarlet red blazes, and the North Country Trail, NCT, as well. As you can imagine, plenty of hiking connections can be made here at East Fork. A short side trail led me to a flowing waterfall with many cascades from geological weathering. This is the spot where I take my first proper water break and proceed to filter straight from the source of the water. This particular spot is one I'll have to revisit in other seasons, with more of my camera gear at the ready for some long exposures. Trees that are worth noting are the sycamore, ginkgo, pin oak, and sugar maple. Each one brings some unique colors and patterns to the tapestry of the forest. Further down the trail, some settling ponds and a small lake are where kingfishers call it home. Moss and other lichens are sprinkled throughout the landscape. I hike through one section of the woodland where the bare trees have an ominous appearance to them. A narrow corridor of a walkway leads me to the golden site of an American beech tree, like a lit beacon of hope that I am on the right path. The trail conditions have been fairly consistent throughout, just some mud from the horses trotting along the bridle trail sections. Views of the William Harshaw Lake have been few and far between. This has been slightly disappointing so far, but once a suitable pull-off towards the water edge occurs, I will sit down for almost 45 minutes and have some lunch. After my lunch break by the lakeside, I noticed that the trail had a nice spring-like appearance to the leaves. There's almost pastel pink and green hues in the colors in the leaves. Then about a half mile later, I noticed how the autumn colors came back to life in the landscape. This happened for several miles, I would say, as it reverted back and forth between the spring-like pastel colors and then back to the more traditional autumn foliage. While the perimeter trail features 5 distinct campsites as marked with signage and on the map, I've hiked past several more, maybe 3, established sites among some wonderful scenery. I did not check out overnight number 1, however, overnight number 2 was with the hammock stands and a roof structure for 3 hikers. Quite the nice amenities for primitive camping. So far I have spotted about a dozen white-tailed deer all over East Fork. With plenty of water draining from the lake and feed sources, I'm sure their population here is healthy and abundant. The fluffy white tail sure does stick out as they hop and sprint away from you. Hiking here at East Fork has truly been exciting so far, as it captures that wilderness feeling without truly having to be out there away from civilization. It also is a solidly challenging hike to test your stamina. As the sun sets over the valley, and less than a mile to my predestined campsite, the largest American sycamore leaves happen to cross my path. Golden yellow with textured veins and pointed ends, I arrived to camp with an hour and a half till sunset, wasting no time to gather my stashed goods and prepare my tent and sleeping setup. Once that is done is when I'll get the fire and a meal started. I'll admit it, I can be a bit scared of the dark sometimes, at least when camping. Something about sleeping in the woods just really terrifies me. Every little twig snap or walnut dropping to the earth below, even some sort of critter rustling through the leaves or the coyote pack howling. As a reaction, I tend to go to bed right after dark and drown out the external noise with white. I absolutely dread having to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night or waking up startled by some racket going on outside of the tent. Never have I ever been so happy to see the daylight start the day. Some complaints and grievances so far. I seem to be unable to start the fire as the wood seems too damp and kindling will not catch it truly. Tried some wood shavings and some dried leaves to no avail. I pitched the tent fairly well from the outside, I think. However, the inside feels sloped and off-center. I already staked it down before noticing. I am also concerned about day 2's weather. Temps seem to drop almost 15 degrees overnight, with a higher chance of rain practically all day, starting around 2 a.m. This could get rough after a very solid first day with the weather and mileage. This is not a complaint, but the night sky is glowing up with the stars. I also really like this campsite and how close I can hop back on the trail. Journaling is good for reflection and memory retention as well. I've heard a quote somewhere that goes something like this: "Autumn is nature's fireworks," and that couldn't be more true. So far so good, maybe even too easy to a point. Navigation has been pretty straightforward. The trail has been muddy and wet at times, and water levels at stream crossings have been no problem so far. Just gotta keep rock hopping. I picked the best dates in terms of leaf color, and the weekend has been perfect so far. So there I was in the tent when an orange light lit up and flickered at me. The fire had gone up in flames. Just when I had fully given up on the fire and was ready to settle in for bed, this was quite a miracle. It just shows that good things can take some time and patience to start. As the day gives way to night, owls begin hooting so much. First a pair of barred owls and then a great horned owl to follow. It was really great to hear them, and it just made the night feel almost a little bit more comforting. Also, almost as if it was an overnight routine, a great blue heron, which I'm sure has been the same individual all night, has been barking once an hour at least and all night. Do they ever get some rest? Day 2. Rain is scattered across my tent. The sun starts to break through the clouds, and I peel off my eye mask and check my watch. The time is about 7:30 a.m. For the record, I set out the day before at about 7 a.m. However, after a long first day of hiking almost 16 miles, I do not feel guilty for sleeping in a little bit longer and having a slower morning. I decided to load up on calories and energy by having both oatmeal MREs. As they rehydrate, so do I, and pack up my sopping wet tent, paying extra and delicate attention to not ruin the rest of my pack's contents. The fire still has one little ember burning. That little ember just refuses to die out despite the little rain that's still occurring. I set out for my campsite promptly at 9 a.m. Pretty soon I realize how slick these wet leaves are on the trail. All in all, it is a minor inconvenience as the slip and sliding occurs when hiking uphill or downhill. The various woodland trails continue, which eventually transition into wildlife area property. I pass by several bow hunters across from some scattered fields and prairies. The perimeter trail has been blazed pretty well up until this point, where I may go a while before seeing a marking. As a slight detour, I take a long road till hopping onto the next trailhead. To make matters worse, the cold mid-30s temp has been mixed in with steady rain showers now. Heavy wind gusts blow the precipitation all over as I am hiking on one of the most exposed portions of the World Walker Trail. There was a considerably wide but shallow creek crossing that I had to traverse and rock hop around. One jump proved to be a lot to handle though, and only about an ankle or shin deep, but icy cold. My foot took a splash and happened to make my shoes very wet, now squishing water out of them with every step. After the most miserable mile or two, or 3 probably, of the trail so far, I start to gather my bearings again around the RV campground. Under a picnic shelter is a nice escape from rain, but not the wind. I sat there shivering as I waited impatiently for my water to boil. My midday lunch provided an opportunity to repack my bag, finally throwing away some trash I've been carrying the whole trip, and to reapply some new warm clothing layers. The rest of the day proved to be a true test of my endurance. The overlapping bridle trails were expectedly even more soupy and muddy than the day before. After a certain point, I just can't be bothered to care about anything but to press on. Dark was already starting to settle in, as the miles increased steadily with frequent breaks and rest stops. I was getting closer to the tailwater ridge, which is where I parked. However, the largest creek crossing was waiting for me, and my vehicle was waiting just on the other side, right by mile marker 29. I was just now minutes away from dusk. However, I wanted to tackle this crossing the best, in the shallowest way possible. After committing to a particular path, I began my watery descent. At this point in the entire hike, I just wanted to get driving home to a proper bed and a warm meal. What felt like a long while only lasted a minute or two, perhaps. The currents weren't heavy enough to carry me away, of course, but one misstep could make me splash all over. Unfortunately, I did not record any video during my crossing, so I could focus presently and completely on the final task at hand. I was now a few steps away from the car when I saw a mysterious dark mammal cross the trail before me. My best theory was a bobcat, since it was right at sunset time, and the creature disappeared without a trace. I had done it. The 32 miles or so later, and the World Walker Trail was complete.
Oh, we did it. Back where we started. Wow, that was amazing. That was quite an adventure, and a great way to end. Crossing that almost like knee high. Yeah, actually a little over knee high, deep water at the tailwater ridge or whatever it's called down here. That was amazing. Whew, I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. I need to eat and drink something, and then we can get the heck out of here.
This is one of the most difficult backpacking trails and through hikes I'd ever done thus far. The time of year and the counterclockwise direction I took were perfect. However, the weather conditions were hit or miss. The water levels posed little to no concern, and the actual hiking was fun, challenging, and varied.
We'll do crispy.
I am left to wonder if Steve Newman himself has ever stepped foot on this trail, let alone hiked it the entire way. Although nothing would compare to his thousands of miles across the world.
Yes, please.
At least for a weekend, I could get a taste of what a journey would be to travel the world by walking.
Yep. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Sorry about that. Appreciate it. Whoops, it's been a long day.